So today we're doing something I have been excited about and I've had to get some other stuff done with so that way I could jump to this, and that's going to be wrapping the RX-7. As you guys are aware, the paint on the RX-7 looks atrocious. It's a 30-year-old car. This car has come a long way from when we got it. It has sat for 10 years. It was a California car, so all the clear coat is pretty much just destroyed. When this wrap comes off, it will probably have to be repainted at that point, but there's enough paint on there now where we will be able to get the wrap to adhere and look killer. So I showed this on Instagram and I mentioned it in a video. We have a beautiful box of Inozatek on the floor right there, and that is the Super Jade Metallic. It's essentially Millennium Jade from Nissan. It's a metallic wrap. I've never done a metallic wrap. I've never used Inozatek, so I'm very curious and excited to see how this will go. Now, if you've never wrapped a car, this is the 5th or 6th car that I've wrapped now or will be wrapping. I'm by no means a professional, but I will show you the things that I have kind of learned along the way of doing like DIY wrapping and some of like the budget-friendly wrapping tools you'll need. So first of all, let's start with the tools over here. Now, every time I go to do a wrap job, I always buy a new pack of these and a new pack of these. These are Tech Wrap gloves. It's just easier to slide your hand across the wrap with these gloves on and push out air bubbles. These are just brand new like razor blade art knives or whatever. They work fantastic. A couple trim tools to be able to tuck wrap in areas, a squeegee, a tape measure to be able to measure wrap. These work okay. I've never had like super great luck with them. They're supposed to cut wrap. A couple extra squeegees because I always lose them. Wax and grease remover, a separate rag, alcohol, because that's what we're gonna have to clean everything with. And that's pretty much the basic of what you're gonna need aside from a heat gun. I don't like using adhesive promoters. Some people do. I'm just not a huge fan of them. And then here in the box, we've got the wrap itself. This is a Inozatek Stree Hunter or Street Jade Metallic or something like that. I don't know the exact name of it. I'm a big fan of this. It looks really cool. I've never worked with Inozatek before. I know it's a stiffer wrap. I know it requires a lot of heat to get the glue to activate properly. I've already gone through and I've already swept around the RX-7. I'm gonna keep it up in the air like this to keep the wrap away from the floor because it does have a lot of static to it, and that static can grab crap off the floor, stick to the wrap, and ruin your wrap. So what we're gonna need to do before we even start wrapping, I'm gonna start with something easy like the hood right here. It's relatively flat. I've already washed the car. I've already clay barred the car. So we are kind of just past that step right now. So what we need to do is pull out these windshield washer sprayers, pull out the pop-ups. I'm gonna pull off the bumper, and we're gonna clean underneath the lip of this hood, as well as re-clean the top of the hood again. The big thing with wrap is prep work, just like paint. Make sure that everything's super clean. Get the bumper out of the way. So now that we've gotten everything out of the way that's going to obstruct the hood, everything we need to wrap around, we go ahead and start cleaning the hood again. So this car's been washed, clay barred, but as you guys can see here, we need to get all this dirt up and out of the way, because if the wrap touches dirt and then the wrap ends up on the paint, or under the wrap, it's obviously going to leave some impressions. We also need to heavily clean all of these areas underneath the hood, because we're probably gonna wrap about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch underneath of the hood. We'll probably do somewhere in between that range there. Same with up here where like the windshield sprayers were. There's just a whole bunch of dirt underneath of those. So I'm gonna go through the top of the hood, clean it with wax and grease remover. Everything underneath of the hood, I'm gonna clean with isopropyl alcohol, and then we'll clean the top of the hood with isopropyl alcohol again, just to ensure that the surface is extremely clean. You wanna do this for every panel. You wanna make sure that you're getting down into like the nooks and crannies of everything and whatnot. So I've got the hood cleaned up. I just kind of skipped past that part because I didn't think you guys really cared to watch me clean a hood. To show you guys, this is like the amount of dirt and crap I was talking about that comes off on the underside of the hood that you just wanna make sure that you get off. So wax and grease remover first, and then isopropyl alcohol. Now, because I'm doing this by myself right now and I don't have a second installer to help me, we are going to go ahead and get the first piece of wrap cut. So I've got a table here, the wrap laid out on the table. I'm gonna grab the wrap, stretch it across, to use these magnets to kind of hold it in place up here past the hood a little bit. And then after that's done, we'll cut it and we'll magnetize it down here. I'm going to cut out these areas because any excess wrap that we can keep and use for other potential things, like mirrors or these little caps for the wing or like end caps or anything like that, is good to have, because with Inozatek, from my understanding, you can only buy it in these big rolls. So if you run out of wrap, you got to buy an entire another roll to finish wrapping your project. So try to take your time, make sure all your measurements and all your cuts are solid. So let's go ahead and get this thing stretched out, get it cut, and then start getting things trimmed up and start wrapping the hood. Yeah, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh dude, on thick films it works great. Whoa, look at that. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim out these headlight bucket spots so that way we have this excess wrap. Just like that. There we go. Now I can peel off the liner, the clear liner, and get to wrapping. That protective sheet does have a ton of static on it, but dude, this looks like fucking paint. So let me get a little bit familiar with the Inozatek. Let me wrap the hood. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it, and we'll kind of just keep going down the car. And as I continue to like pick up more tricks and like tips on wrapping with Inozatek, I'll keep you guys updated. But I'm pumped. I'm pumped. So initial impressions of the Inozatek so far is it's not as bad as people make it out to seem to work with. Having a second person definitely helps. It's not the end of the world if you don't. The film itself, I actually prefer the way that this lays on versus like Avery or some of the other ones that I've used, because it doesn't really activate the glue up until you really start applying heat to it. So if you need to make changes to the wrap, you can. But dude, that looks so good. That is like the best looking wrap I think I've ever seen. That's not like cleaned or anything. That's just installed and then wiped down, and that was it. It looks so good. There is one spot that I noticed right here in the wrap, and you can only see it in certain lighting, that you can see the glue through it, but aside from that one spot, everything else looks super minty. Like any other wrap out there, it will not hide paint defects that you have underneath of the wrap, so you will still see paint defects like there. There's a chip there, chip there, chip there. So you will still see defects through the wrap, keep that in mind, but really take your time to post heat Inozatek if you're gonna be using it, because it sticks and it like sticks well, but just take your time doing it, you guys. I gotta hit that corner right there a little bit more, but sick. Let me finish post heating this hood, and then I think we're gonna jump over to the fenders. We're gonna take the wheels off, take the wheel liners out, take these guys out. We'll do the front fenders on both sides, and then from there we'll probably jump to the doors. I'm gonna start to do all the panels that I can do myself, just to start getting it as far as possible. For this piece here, because the rear quarter panel wraps up into the roof and then wraps down to the A-pillar, so the wrap obviously is not big enough to do that, so I think I'm gonna do my seam line here for it maybe. I'm gonna have to do some measurements to figure out where I'm gonna do the seam line. Maybe I'll have to do a seam line here, and then do the roof. This piece, I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll figure it out when we get there, but dude, this stuff looks so fucking good. Off clip. I should be able to take that guy out. There it goes, and of course it works. Dude, it's looking so good. So I got this panel done. I had to take off the wrap and put it back on about 4 or 5 times to get everything to align properly, but it finally did. I will say with Inozatek, it is way more forgiving than other wraps that I've used. I was able to take that off and on about 4 times and it still went on no problem. Still looks fantastic. There's no marks, no creases, nothing like that. Dude, it's wild how good, like, once we get this thing done, I'll push it out into the sun for you guys, so that way we can actually see it outside of the garage, but I absolutely love this color. I think this was the right choice, putting the Millennium Jade on the RX-7 versus putting this on the STI. So I've already got this side disassembled, cleaned up. We can go ahead and start wrapping this side. Beautiful, we got the other front fender done. Fender liners are put back in, wheels are put back on. I'm trying to reassemble things as I go so that way I don't have things scattered everywhere. The Millennium Jade, or the Stree Hunter Metallic Jade, whatever you want to call it, is looking absolutely beautiful. So the front end is pretty much done. We have to do the pop-ups. I'm waiting till I get more scrap material to do that. For now, we are going to jump over to this other door. I just pulled off this mirror, and lo and behold, it's if you've never had the pleasure of working on a car that's like over 25 years old, let me tell you a couple things. Metal over 30 years or so tends to get very soft, and when it does, it tends to strip out, and when it strips out, you have to drill out screws. So I had to drill out all the screws that held the mirrors in on the FD. Wasn't a good time. They just ended up rusting to everything, so I pulled out a tap and die, cleaned everything up. I've got some new hardware I can use for the mirrors. Got the mirror off. All you gotta do to get the mirrors off, if there are any RX-7 people watching this who are gonna wrap their car, the mirror spins forward towards the front of the car, and then it exposes a screw there and a screw right there. You can take those off. That'll unbolt this mirror from the bracket, and then from the bracket to the chassis there is one more screw. Once you get that off, you can then pull this plate off that holds the cap thing to the doors. Trim piece just pulls out. You got to take the door card off, take the speaker off to be able to get the wiring for the mirror out, but for the most part, all that's done. So now we're gonna jump over to this mirror. This door. I've already cleaned it. Everything is good to go. So let me grab a piece of wrap. Let's lay it up on here and start wrapping this door. Dude, the car's looking so good. I freaking love this color. So the things that I can't do because I don't have the knifeless tape, or the front bumper, the mirrors, the rear quarter panel up here to the roof, because I'm gonna have to do a seam line probably right here and then do the rest of it in a different piece. I'm not entirely sure yet. Maybe I may do it up here higher because the wrap is a little bit long, so I might just do it that way. So I think what I'm gonna do next is jump up here to the sunroof, maybe knock out the sunroof, and then we can jump over to the other side to the other door, because I don't think that that piece of vinyl that I cut right there is gonna be big enough for the other door. Actually, let me check, because I can just hold it up to this door. It was not big enough for the other door, but it is big enough for the sunroof, so we'll use that piece for the sunroof. So I think I'm just gonna open the sunroof and take all the seal trim off around the edges. I'm a little worried to take this off, that it's not gonna go back on. If that's the case, I'm gonna have to buy new trim. It's not the end of the world if I do have to do that, but let's go ahead and knock out the sunroof now. All these little panels, one at a time. We will turn this car Millennium Jade. Check sunroof off the list. I have the trim piece left off right now because when I go to wrap the roof in that area, I need to be able to get the wrap in there, so I just have that off right now. Also took some time to wrap the gas cap with a little piece of scrap that I had, just trying to knock out as much of the little stuff as possible, so that way we don't have to do all the little stuff all at once when it comes to finishing off this car. I would like to do the headlight buckets next, but that's, you know, that's one of those little things that I don't want to do right now. So far things have been going pretty smooth. Like I said, I'm trying to do all the stuff right now that doesn't require the knifeless tape, because for some reason I took that to the shop, so I need to bring it back over here, and I need the knifeless tape to be able to do inlays on some parts. I need the knifeless tape to be able to do the roof, the quarter panels, and things like that. So, you know, maybe I will just jump to the door. Yeah, we'll just jump to the door. Another door is completed. I would like to get some new like trim panels. I did break an interior piece that I'm gonna have to replace, see if I can find one. But for the most part, we're moving along nicely. So next up, I wanna jump to the hatch. Hatch is gonna be real annoying because we got that back glass right there, and I'm gonna have to tuck this wrap all the way around the glass that goes around the hatch. The hatch is probably going to be fairly time consuming. We're gonna jump to the hatch. We'll get the hatch done. The hatch sucked, but it is done. I tried to do the whole hatch in one piece, but quickly realized that just wasn't going to happen. So the hatch is done in 2 pieces. You guys may be able to see the seam line on the body line up there because the light is hitting it perfectly where you can see it. But if it's your first time wrapping a car, don't be scared to do things in 2 pieces. The big things for me of why I'll do things in 2 pieces is for the longevity of the wrap. If you put too much tension on wrap in certain areas, like all right here, it would have started peeling up. I could have made it stick as 1 piece, but I know that it's gonna start peeling up when it gets out into the sun as I'm driving the car, and I want the wrap to last. So if you are going to do 2 pieces for 1 panel, try to hide the wrap overlay in a body line, and that'll just mask it way better. The other thing is getting the seal underneath of the wrap. I thought I cleaned it out pretty thoroughly. I guess not, because there was a decent amount of schmoo down in there still, but overall I'm pretty happy with how the hatch came out. We have most of the big panels done. The only things that are left are the bumpers and the quarter panels, and then the small stuff like vents, mirrors, things like that. But I have an opportunity to push this thing outside, and I want to see this thing in the sun. So let's get the RX-7 pushed out so that way we can actually see what this Millennium Jade is going to look like. The wing is going to suck. I'm not looking forward to wrapping the wing, but let's get the RX-7 pushed out. Freaking so much shinier than the paint ever was, and the color looks so good. It's so hard to show you guys right now because it's so reflective. It just reflects all of the light from the sun and just blinds everything. But dude, that color looks so good. I really want to see it in like overcast weather to see what it looks like. But the Inozatek has such a freaking shine to it. It's so, the camera can't even focus on it. It's so hard to pick up, but it actually does look more like paint than a wrap, which is crazy because all the other wraps that I've ever used in the past, you can always tell it's a wrap because it doesn't have like the metallic, or if it is metallic, it still has like a wrap looking quality, where this just looks like straight up paint. It's insane. You can see some of the deformations of the body panels from just like little dents and dings that it's taken from the years, but dude, the metallic jade looks so fucking good. But I am so happy with the color choice that we went with originally for the STI, but I think it just suits the RX-7 way better. So we're actually almost done wrapping the car. All we have left is the front and the rear bumper, the quarter panels, the roof, and then the pop-ups and the wing. But the wing I'll probably do at a later date. I'm not too worried about doing it right now. So in the next video we'll start tackling all of that stuff. But for the first wrapping video on this car, we got pretty much almost done. Hatch is done, sunroof is done, both doors done, both fenders done, the hood is done, and I also got the gas cap done. Even the little things are getting done. So I'm actually gonna let the RX-7 sit in the sun for the rest of the day. The sun just helps bake the wrap on, and it helps it adhere to the paint a little bit better. So I'm just gonna leave it parked outside, go edit this video tomorrow. Some of you guys may know Tina. She's coming over to help me finish wrapping the car. With 2 people, we should be able to pretty much get it done tomorrow, which is gonna be awesome. So that way, we can get a ceramic coat on the car, we can start making it look good, we can start getting it like closer to running. Like I said, there's still some things that I need to order for the car, but overall, dude, the RX-7 has come so far in like the 3 months that I've had it. I don't want to call it abandoned, but we got it from a shell essentially that had sat for 10 years to pretty much a fully built RX-7 at this point. Big single turbo, beautiful wrap on it, interior re-put back together. It's the chef's kiss, dude. I'm so excited to have this car. I'm gonna do some I'll do some stupid shit with this car. 700 horsepower rear wheel drive RX-7. I'm gonna explode the rear diff. I'm fully expecting that, but nah, it's gonna be fun. So if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go and hit that like button, turn to black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies. Woo!